Hey, it's Keith Fleming, FUTV. If anybody else has had trouble with this, I seem to go through a lot of front brake pads. And I think the reason I'm going through the front brake pads is my rotors are drilled, and I do a lot of mud riding. I've seen these on YouTube, and they're claiming that, and I understand this, if there's not mud in the holes with abrasive in them, it's not eating my pads up. So I'm going to go to a solid rotor on the front of the 750, and I thought maybe I'd take you guys along. Just got it jacked up, get the wheels off and get started. Alright, tires and wheels off. Now it looks like I'm going to have to take the calipers off and put them off to the side, and hopefully I can just crack the nut and pull this spindle off, and that's going to bring the rotor with me. I can take it over to the bench, unbolt the rotor, bolt the new rotor on. Try to keep up. Okay, got the calipers off, got the rotors and spindles, of course they're bolted together, off. You can see a myriad of holes. Every time those holes fill up with mud, I think of abrasive. They make these things that you sharpen your knives with, and basically that's what they are. They're a piece of metal with holes like that, and then there's abrasive in the holes, and that's what you sharpen your knives with. And I'm thinking, that's kind of akin to what eats my brake pads up on about every 6 or so trips out. I'm having to replace pads. Well, I've got back here my solid rotors. Let me get to the task of trying to remove these bolts, which haven't been out since probably 2006. That's the year of the bike. So let me work on those and I'll get right back with you. Alright, I was able to get those bolts out, and I'll give you some insight on the kind of person I am. Normally I want to put never sees on stuff because I want to get it apart in the future, but apparently these had Loctite on them, and I had an issue one time with some rotors and the bolts come loose. So I'm gonna take this rotor off, if I can get it to come out. I guess that's where that goes. And we will crack out the Loctite, and we will Loctite these babies back together, and I'm going to rinse and repeat. This is the first one. That one's got to come out, and that rotor's got to go on it, and then I'll show you me putting them back in. Well, at this point, I've got both rotors mounted up, got Loctite in them, torqued them down to really tight. Now, got to get them installed. I'm gonna get the spindles in, and just before I mount my calipers back on, I'm gonna take some brake cleaner because these things feel like they have like a really oily ass film on them. And the only other thing I'm doing is these rotors were they have a little bit of a step in them. I'm not putting brand new pads on. The old pads haven't been on there but about 2 weeks. So they should seat themselves to these. And hopefully this reduces down on the mud. Let's press on and get them put back together. There, I say that's purty. We got rid of the drilled rotors, got the solid ones in. Like I said, rinse and repeat again. This is the driving side. I got to get the other side put on. And I'll take you through it with me. Here's some brake cleaner. That gets the oil off. Yeah, it's going to require two hands. I'll get back with you when we get it back together. Alright, this one left you with needing two or both hands, but this one was a little tougher. The nut ended up being where the key had always been going through this way, and of course they're crossed. I had to drill that out because it had mud and funk in it, but clean rotors, solid rotors. Hopefully, in theory, and hopefully in practice, my brake pads are going to last a hell of a lot longer. Drilled rotors might be good if I was running 70 miles an hour all the time and I didn't want this thing to overheat and wear my pads out, but where I'm riding, overheating's not an issue. Keeping the mud and the funk out is the issue. This is going to keep the mud and the funk out. Really appreciate you guys watching. Hopefully this helps somebody out. This has been something that's in the back of my mind for a long time because I go through pads because I ride into mud constantly. And I put a solid rotor on the back of my 650 and I quit going through pads. And then when I got this bike, I haven't had it very long and I've already gone through a set of pads already. So for this was like 70 bucks or something like that for the new rotors. But I'll report back to you. If it don't work, I'll be back on here trying something different, complaining about how these didn't work. Hopefully they do work. Like I said, I appreciate you guys watching. Thanks. Bye.